Chapter 31. It was 1:12 a.m. when Father arrived at the police station. I did not see him until 1:28 a.m., but I knew he was there because I could hear him. He was shouting, "I want to see my son," and "Why the hell is he locked up?" And of course I'm bloody angry. Then I heard a policeman telling him to calm down. Then I heard nothing for a long while. At 1:28 a.m., a policeman opened the door of the cell and told me there was someone to see me. I stepped outside. Father was standing in the corridor. He held up his right hand and spread his fingers out in a fan. I held up my left hand and spread my fingers out in a fan, and we made our fingers and thumbs touch each other. We do this because sometimes Father wants to give me a hug, but I do not like hugging people, so we do this instead, and it means that he loves me. Then the policeman told us to follow him down the corridor to another room. In the room was a table and 3 chairs. He told us to sit down on the far side of the table, and he sat down on the other side. There was a tape recorder on the table, and I asked whether I was going to be interviewed, and he said he was going to record the interview. He said, "I don't think there will be any need for that." He was an inspector. I could tell because he wasn't wearing a uniform. He also had a very hairy nose. It looks as if there were 2 very small mice hiding in his nostrils. He said, "I've spoken to your father, and he says that you didn't mean to hit the policeman." I didn't say anything because this wasn't a question. And he said, "Did you mean to hit the policeman?" I said, "Yes." He squeezed his face and said, "But you didn't mean to hurt the policeman." I thought about this and said, "No, I didn't mean to hurt the policeman. I just wanted him to stop touching me." And then he said, "You know that it's wrong to hit a policeman, don't you?" And I said, "I do." He was quiet for a few seconds. Then he asked, "Did you kill the dog, Christopher?" I said, "I didn't kill the dog." He said, "Do you know that it's wrong to lie to a policeman and that you can get a very great deal of trouble if you do?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you know who killed the dog?" I said, "No." He said, "Are you telling the truth?" And I said, "Yes, I always tell the truth." And he said, "Right, I'm going to give you a caution." And I asked, "Is that going to be on a piece of paper, like a certificate I can keep?" He replied, "No, a caution means that we're going to keep a record of what you did, that you hit a policeman, but that it was an accident and that you didn't mean to hurt the policeman." I said, "But it wasn't an accident." And Father said, "Christopher, please." The policeman closed his mouth and breathed out loudly through his nose and said, "If you get into any more trouble, we will take out this record and see that you've been given a caution, and we will take things much more seriously. Do you understand what I am saying?" I said that I understood. Then he said that we could go, and he stood up and opened the door, and we walked out onto the corridor and back to the front desk, where I picked up my Swiss Army knife and my piece of string and the piece of the wooden puzzle and the 3 pellets of rat food for Toby and my 1 pound and 47 pence and the paper clip and my front door key, which were all in a little plastic bag, and we went out to Father's car, which was parked outside, and we drove home. Chapter 37. I do not tell lies. Mother used to say this was because I was a good person, but it is not because I'm a good person. It's because I can't tell lies. Mother was a small person who smelled nice. She sometimes wore a fleece with the zip down the front, which was pink and had a tiny label which said Berghaus on the left bosom. A lie is when you say something happened which didn't happen, but there's only ever one thing which happened at a particular time in a particular place, and there are an infinite number of things which didn't happen at that time in that place. And if I think about something which didn't happen, I start thinking about all the other things which didn't happen. For example, this morning for breakfast, I had Ready Brek and some hot raspberry milkshake. But if I say that I actually had Shreddies and a mug of tea, I'll start thinking about Cocoa Pops and lemonade and porridge and Dr. Pepper and how I wasn't eating my breakfast in Egypt, and there wasn't a rhinoceros in the room, and Father wasn't wearing a diving suit, and so on. Even writing this makes me feel shaky and scared, like I do when I'm standing on the top of a very tall building, and there are thousands of houses and cars and people below me. My head is so full of all these things that I'm afraid that I'm going to forget to stand up straight and hang on to the rail, and that I'm going to fall over and be killed. There's another reason I don't like proper novels, because they are lies about things which didn't happen, and they make me feel shaky and scared. And that is why everything I have written here is true.